you really got to weigh the profitability versus the additional cost that's going to come forward or getting the equipment. If that equipment can't pay for itself, number one, then it's not a smart move.
We were able to amortize it over 25 years with the SBA loan we got. Helped our cash flow tremendously. Like I said, between what I was paying in the lease, I actually got the equipment, got the building, and was saving an extra $1,800. So I basically got the equipment free. Hey everybody, welcome back to the FIP Printing Pros podcast. I'm your host, Josh Steinison. With me is my co-host, Chris Lockwood.
Hello.
Today we'll be talking about how to stay profitable while also growing fast, which is sometimes not a totally easy feat. Okay. Because there's so many different ways to grow fast that maybe sometimes doesn't make it profitable.
Yeah. I want to point out something very key in the title of this. Staying profitable while growing. That means you have to be profitable
to start
before you start to grow. So just everybody keep that in mind.
It's very true. And now, I mean, obviously there's so many different ways to really like grow fast that you kind of have to keep in mind a little bit. I think there's different ways you can grow because
we covered that in an earlier episode, a couple of episodes ago about how to expand with product lines and all that kind of stuff. So this one is going to focus more on whatever path you choose. Yeah. Keeping some things in mind so you don't screw it up.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So let's get into this. It's exciting to grow, right? The prospect of making more money, having more profits like that, you can get wrapped up in that pretty quick. Yes. Right. So how do you temper that? How do you temper that excitement?
Well, first of all, is one, the key, like we said, is the profit. So like some people get caught up in the growth of what the revenue is. But for my experience in general, we actually went way lower in our revenue when I first took over. But we were actually what it was is we took over in COVID. So COVID naturally lost a lot of our business. A lot of companies went under, all the things. So we were originally, the previous owner was over $2 million in sales. It was about down to 1.4 that year when I took over. I shifted a lot of things initially and got rid of a lot of things like we talked about a couple episodes ago where there were some jobs we were doing where we were just doing them and not making any profit off of them. Got rid of those. And what we saw was even though we only got to I think that first year in business, we grew it from 1.4 to 1.6. Our profit on 1.6 was more than what they were at over 2 million the previous year before COVID hit. Yeah. And the biggest thing from that is because we talked about that we won't go into full detail of what I talked about, but basically really cutting, negotiating, making sure really to focus on the profit side of things instead of focusing just top line revenue, and so that's first and foremost. Did you ask me a question before
Nope, that was it. You answered it.
Yeah. I just want to make sure. For us though, one way we kind of grew, but it didn't show on necessary profitability, but over time it will pay off, is we bought the building. And that actually did save us a little bit compared to our lease amount monthly. So there was some cash flow profitability that helped us there just initially, but long term, obviously that's going to be a huge game changer because obviously that's going to appreciate over time. And plus, we're going to be paying that down. So if we hold on to it for the 25 years of the note, then obviously that's a big chunk we're going to get. Otherwise, even if we sell earlier, then it'll be a lot higher than what it was now. Compared to if it's just a lease and I just keep leasing, that lease is going to keep going up, and then so our cash flow is going to go. But that now I'm staying steady no matter what, and then also. I have something to gain a profitability when I do sell.
So you're looking at the future growth in what the rent would be, the lease would be.
Yes.
So you're saving that money.
Yep.
And then you're also gaining equity in the building as it both appreciates in value and you pay down the debt.
Correct.
So, okay.
Yep. So and again, that's like not really like the big part of what we're going to talk about necessarily, but that is a small part of growing with very small, minimal, like right now type of stuff you're seeing, but long term.
Well, you know, in order to grow profitability, we were actually talking about this on the personal side earlier. You know, what you're looking at with cash flow and profit and things like that is it's not always necessarily bringing in more revenue, like you said, but it's cutting costs. So the first thing to do in order to get more profitability is let me look at all my costs and see where I can cut those. One of the ways you did that was by buying the building versus leasing it.
Yep.
So now you've saved money there. When we're talking about cost of growth, what are some of the hidden costs that people need to be aware of that you might not be thinking about as you're expanding your business?
Hidden costs? Well, it just depends. So the thing I would say is depending on what you're trying to grow, because let's say it's adding a new product line. Maybe you're just thinking, oh, all the revenue I can get from the product line. Well, do you need new equipment to do the product line you're trying to launch? Well, now you got to buy that equipment. So either you got to buy it straight out right with whatever money you have saved up to buy it, and then that's now gone from that. Or you lease it and then you're paying a monthly payment, or you buy it with a loan and then you pay a payment on the loan.
So you bought some new equipment when you first got the business. Talk to us about that and how you offset the cost of the new equipment versus increasing your profits.
So the way I did it was I actually, when I bought the building, because I didn't initially buy the building right away, I was paying the lease for the first 1.5 to 2 years. It was 1.5 years. And then I bought the building. And then I bought like $300,000 worth of equipment that we needed to do signs inside the in-house that we weren't able to do. We were outsourcing that. And so I added that $300,000 into that loan with the SBA for the building, which amortized it over 25 years, whereas most equipment like that would be 7 years, maybe 10 years if you're lucky. And again, it's 7 years, even lucky for that, maybe 5-6 years usually on leases or temporary loans for equipment like that. So we were able to amortize it over 25 years with the SBA loan we got. And that helped our cash flow tremendously. Like I said, between what I was paying in the lease, I actually got the equipment, got the building, and was saving an extra $1,800. So I basically got the equipment free.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it, yeah,
that's how I looked at it. Is the equipment was free, and I then was cutting my lease payment by $1,800 a month. Now, again, later we talked about another.
Well, and then using the equipment, you were able to increase your profits, your sales.
Yep.
Because if you have to outsource it,
correct,
your margins are a lot smaller than if you're able to do it in house, right?
Yeah, because I didn't change my prices.
Yeah.
My prices stayed the same, but now I'm doing it in house. So now I'm getting the better margin because we're doing it in-house rather than me paying somebody else to do it, and then I have to mark it up what they did.
So I think the lesson here, kids, is when you're looking at this kind of expansion through, basically what we're talking about is cutting some costs with the building and all that, but also adding other avenues of income or revenue stream, is you really got to weigh the profitability versus the additional cost that's going to come for doing whatever, whether I'm buying the real estate or getting the equipment. If that equipment can't pay for itself, number one, then it's not a smart move.
Yeah.
Like if you're in landscaping, right? Just, I don't know why this one popped into my head, but it's like, okay, I've got 2 crews going. Well, if I go buy, a lot of the thinking will be, well, if I go buy a third, set of equipment, I can have 3 crews going.
Yep.
But now I've got all these other payments. I've got another truck payment. I got another trailer. I got another lawnmower in maintenance and all these things that I'm paying. And I got to pay another crew. And if I can't get more jobs to pay for that, if I don't have the work for it, then it doesn't make any sense. But at the same time, if I can do that, and like in your case, like you're not going to be able to wrap it up in real estate, but if you're able to wrap all that up into another deal or part of another package, then it makes sense.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's some other hidden costs that we have listed down here. Payroll is going to be a big one, because if you buy new equipment, or you're gonna have to have new people eventually.
Yeah.
So if you don't account for that, that can really mess you up, right?
Yeah, and I think there's two different ways to handle that. I'm of the belief that you run as slim as you possibly can on the payroll, like as far as, because for me, until I'm working a bunch of overtime to help things go through and make happen, then I shouldn't have to hire another person in most ways. Now, the way where you might have to hire somebody ahead of time, that might come, the reason why you might have to is because it's adding an element that like you can't handle,
right?
That you need to help with expanding, like a marketing or something like that. And whether you're hiring a marketing agency, you can do that, or if you bring in a marketing person, whatever it is, those are things that you kind of have to bite the bullet on ahead of time, because obviously you're not going to hire a marketing person after the marketing's already in place, because you don't know how to do marketing. That's why you're hiring a marketing person, so.
Or sales, a sales person, someone
yeah.
who's going to, those are the type of employees that should pay for themselves.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. And that's what you have to really factor in. And that's why also, as much as you can, I highly recommend in those type of positions where you have incentives so you don't have to pay them like a ginormous amount, but hopefully their value brings more money in so that they make more money. And that's how I try to structure those type of things. Yeah. Okay. Like even right now with my current people that have never really done sales, I'm now like developing that for them, and I've created a commission structure for them as they're trying to grow the company on sales side. They've been mostly just customer service when things come to them, and then they process it. And I'm now getting them to now try to do the sales side as well.
Do some upsells, do some outreach, stuff like that. Reach back out to old customers that haven't ordered.
Yep.
Yeah, because they got all the access to that. So,
exactly. And, and the knowledge.
Yep, and the knowledge.
Just maybe not the comfortability of just cold selling, but money can motivate people.
If you want to leverage different print and promotional products for your company but don't know how to go about doing it, click the link below and let's schedule a free strategy session with me, and I'd love to help you guys out. Look forward to talking with you.
So, we talked about some hidden costs, but there's other factors to consider when you're expanding. It's not necessarily adding new product lines or anything like that, but focusing on efficiency, focusing on your systems. Talk about how that helps you expand your business and your profitability.
Yeah, so let's just say one system we got that we have put into place, it's actually called Plan Profit, is the name of it. Granted, it's not spelled the profit in profit money. It's a profit like a prophecy.
Prophecy, yeah, of course. A little wordplay there.
But I think that's probably because Plan Profit might have already been taken and they were just trying to play it out. And I don't know.
Get as close as they could.
But that system, while it's an extra, $400-500 a month, I can't remember exactly. I think it's like $450 extra a month. What that does for us, it first of all, it automates so many things. That one, I have less employees that have to handle that, frees them up to do other things for me. And then two, it sends out automatic marketing emails. Mm-hmm. So like it knows our system when somebody hasn't ordered in so many months, or especially if it knows how to read, like basically how often they order certain things. And then when they don't, it sends an email. Hey, just check it. Well, we curate what it says, obviously, right. but it automatically sends those with us having to do the manual research of like checking into these, because we have over, several hundred customers. So like that's very hard to keep up with every single one of them, of what they're doing, not doing. And so having this automation there. But the biggest thing for us is the automated emails it's sending out for invoices and following up with it.
Yeah.
We have it set up where once they hit 30 days, it's I can't remember if it's every 3 business days reminder after it's 30 days, which is past due, because they're net 30 terms, or if it's once a week. But then once it hits 45 days, it's every single day. They're getting an email reminder, like pay.
And how has that affected the cash flow and getting money in?
So we actually were not trying to bombard people quite right away with the past due ones. So we didn't have that set up until literally, I want to say 2-3 weeks ago. And since then we've already had people like that normally take longer to pay have already been paying.
Yeah. Because it's annoying. It's annoying getting that email reminding you to do your.
Well, it's annoying you didn't pay on time. but as far as also what that does is free up more time again for my people, because what they were having to do is now go through, call those people, email those people, do all the things to try to get the payment and chase it. And now that, again, so a lot of this has freed up a lot of my time for the people we have there now, that this was taking up more of the time. So now I don't have to hire people more to handle more things that's coming in. Now I actually have them freed up more time, and I can have them do more things like I'm trying to do, and have them learn to start doing sales calls and things like that now that they have the extra free time with this. And that's now an added layer that I didn't have in the business to be able to do.
Yeah.
So
the
that
key,
$500 now more than pays for itself.
Yeah. So, the key here is when you're looking to expand, before you try and expand your business, expand your product lines, add new sources of revenue, really streamline your processes.
Yeah.
And get the maximum, the best use out of the people that you have. And leveraging technology now is more important than ever to do that. Like I can't think of any industry that couldn't leverage AI to do things. And, now that takes time to learn. Someone's got to figure it out. But see, you're already using that because there's another program or another company that's figured out how to do it. Because it's AI that's telling them, hey, this person hasn't ordered in 3 months. They're due. Let's send out an email.
Yep.
It's AI that's helping with that. And I would almost, I bet if they don't have it yet, they will eventually have it, that it can automatically gen up an email for you.
Probably. Well, it can do that.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't gen up the email, but like when you're setting up the templates, it will do an AI one for you.
Yeah. So, the option is there, right?
Yep.
So, get efficient with what your current operations are. That way, when you add new stuff to it, it fits in seamlessly. Or if you're having to figure it out, you're not having to figure that out and whatever Frankenstein business operations you have trying to keep going to at the same time. So
exactly.
I love that. That's good. In here, we talked about watching the margins, and what is, in your mind, what is more important? Is it volume? Pushing as much product, lower my price, push a bunch of product, or do you stick to your pricing, less volume but higher profits?
So that is it is a tough question, because I do feel like when you are doing like campaigns and stuff like that, having a deal out there is a good thing to have. So, but I think sometimes you got to be careful, because you got to make sure you are still making the money you need to make off of it. So I think offering a deal and lowering your initial price when you're trying to get a new customer is not a wrong play. But obviously long term, you don't want to have to like stick to that price. Most people understand when you're like coming in, 15% off first order or whatever. It's pretty normal. And then it standardizes off of that from there, but you still want to give deals throughout the month. Like we a lot of times try to throw in, like this month it's 10% off this, or 10% off that or something like that. But like each month has its specific things we offer. So we try to offer those in general. But where people will sometimes go wrong is they just, everything is, let's just go bottom dollar just to be the cheapest and all that kind of stuff and get the deal every time. Well, that is, so I will say this because I had a guy, because we have the wholesale side, and so he was coming to us and trying to get us to print. He was giving the prices out before he'd come to me, and I know what it was. He was still learning. Like, he doesn't understand, like, the lower the quantity, the higher the price. Right. And so, like, he asked for a quote for like 500. I gave him the 500 quote. Well, then he ended up only ordering 100. Well, the price went higher. And then he was like, why'd you raise the price? I was like, well, that's how business works. Yeah. I was like, the lower the quantity, because again, you have to factor in the time of the work that it takes to set this all up, do all the things, the communication, all that stuff. That doesn't change. So now when you lower the quantity, now it's spread across less. And then also the time frame of just continuing that, when you continue to run that order, the longer the run. Now I'm already in it, so like it's just running.
Yeah, it doesn't cost any more money to run extra.
But he ended up going out of business, and because he was trying to be, and it was in his business model, and it was like, I can't remember, it was the cheapest in town or something like that is what he would always put out there, like, as his motto. And he didn't stay in business very long because he was trying to be too cheap. Yeah. Like, he was trying to be the cheapest, and by cutting himself short. You got to stay with the market still. So like, now can you go to the market and try to like see if what the cheapest is out there can work? Then great. If that works within your margins and you can stay afloat, but again, you have to take account all your, like we've talked about in another podcast, where your overhead, your loans, and everything like that. Make sure all that's taken into account when you're pricing things out. Does that still work?
Well, and I hear a lot of times, especially new business owners, like, I didn't pay myself for the first 5 years, or, and the opposite of that is the business owner is like, I pay myself first.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't think either one of those are good. I don't know which one is worse, but I don't think either one of them are good.
It just depends what the business needs. That's as a business owner, you do what the business needs you to do. I mean, obviously, I took over an existing business, so that made it a little easier to pay faster. But also, I'm very cautious and want to build up an extra like emergency blanket of funds in the bank account. So I didn't pay myself for a while, even though I probably could have in the beginning. But I wanted to build that up first. So I didn't pay myself for a while. And then we've talked, there's been many times I've had to stop paying myself because just the business got hit with different things, you know. But again, going back to that, margins, you got to factor in, you want to make sure that you aren't just discounting down and hurting yourself and shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah, and I think the larger your business is, you can become a volume business. There's two different kinds of car dealerships. You have
high end,
the high end. They're and even they don't have to be a high end, but maybe they're a smaller one, so their profit margins are higher, but they sell a lot less cars. Mm-hmm. Or you have these gigantic ones that they're a high volume dealer. So they sell at a lower price, but their customer service is usually crappier. You can get a better deal, but you're going to have to put up with the other stuff too. So again, it comes back to your business model. Now, in terms of expanding the print company, FIP, you had to take on debt.
Yep.
So explain what the difference in your mind between good debt and bad debt is. And which one did you get at first?
So I would say, obviously, first of all, when you take on any debt, you got to make sure the business can handle it. That's number one, 100%. If it's where it's like super close to where ends may not meet, I would say it's probably not the best.
Yeah.
What I say smart debt is okay, we're talking about a piece of equipment. Is this expanding what I can offer? And will it bring me more revenue? And if you can see getting this machine will then now end up making production and revenue go higher, then that's a no-brainer. But then you also have to try to think and project. So how I've actually done this a lot of times is I actually went from originally just in our digital department. I came, and when I first bought it, we had one digital machine. I ended up shifting. The market shifted after COVID, where a lot of people went lesser, shorter runs. So digital was being more prominent and not less as much on the offset, big presses, longer runs. So I saw that I was getting a lot more clicks racking up, which on the digitals, every time it runs through, you get a click charge and so that's a constant payment you have to make every time you do that. Whereas on the press, it's more ink, hours of your labor, and different things like that that come into play. But whereas that goes, I ended up, the company that they were with, the click charge was a lot higher, and I found another company that the click charge was a lot lower. Same quality, nothing different, but also they did a half click for 8.5 by 11 compared to 11 by 17, which is the normal run that you run, and they would do a half click on it. So I then kind of ran the numbers of what we normally do that are 8.5 by 11 or smaller to know what we actually would do in half clicks, because the other company only did one click. It's whether it's 8.5 by 11, 11 by 17, same charge. I ended up finding if I switched to this company, the cost savings just in the half click on the 8.5 by 11s I would do, I was able to get another machine and still be more profitable.
So your savings from just changing companies on one machine allowed you to buy a second
for free, basically.
And expand your capabilities.
Yeah, and what I ended up doing with that one, it was also adding a booklet maker on it. Whereas what we were having to do is print the books or put the papers, now go at the collator, which the booklet maker, to then collate it all, staple it, stitch it, fold it, do it all. Now I bought a digital machine on the shorter runs that financially makes sense as on the shorter runs. It does all of it in one run. Print, fold, stitch.
So it saves you time, saves you employee labor.
Yep.
Saves wear and tear on the other machine.
Correct.
Yeah. So
and the good thing about the digital is that click charge I'm paying, that's covering any maintenance that goes wrong with that machine.
Yeah.
So if anything goes bad, even if it's mechanical or anything like that, they replace it. Yeah. I don't have to pay anything. Technically, I'm paying for it.
Yeah, you're paying for it, but you're also paying for that peace of mind that.
But I'm paying.
You won't be down long.
But when I'm charging the customer, I'm already factoring in that cost. So while yes, I'm paying for it, I'm making the customer pay for it, which every print shop does this.
Yeah. Well, every business does that.
Yeah.
If people think business just kindly pays for things out of their own pocket, they're crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Not how it works.
So that is another way, like it. If you can find that's a smart investment in my way, is the way I switched that, and now I doubled and even offered an additional thing I can now offer, and frees up my people. Like it's a multifaceted thing that you can. That's what I call a smart investment, or smart whatever you said, smart debt. There you go. So in my opinion, that's kind of a good example of what I have done that is good debt.
Now, along with debt. And along with scaling, there's times you have to hire new people. Mm-hmm. So how do you balance the timing versus the need versus who to bring in at whatever particular place? How do you balance that? What's your analysis process for that?
So it's different for every business, obviously, because every industry is different on how you can go about scaling and outsourcing and things like that. I have the advantage, though, that anything I do, I have outsourced partners in a wholesale market that I could use if I needed to. And in my opinion, I'm going to run as slim as I possibly can until I'm working overtime, my business partner's working overtime, and my people are working overtime, which the ones that want to work. I don't ever force anybody to work overtime, but a lot of my people, they like to get extra overtime if they can. So until we're all working extra overtime, and I'm having to outsource, I'm not hiring another person. Because, again, going back to profitability, that bleeds into my profitability once I now have a for sure person, which we're in the sales business that fluctuates month to month.
Yeah.
So while I could be really busy right now, it may not be in a week or two. So until I'm consistently for at least a solid, I would say, couple months, I'm not hiring another person. And if I have to keep outsourcing, and once it's consistent, I'm like, all right, now let's hire somebody. And then the other thing, like we talked about, is unless it's like something that you can't do. Like if it's a specialty,
they have a certain capability that you don't have. Like we talked about marketing or sales.
Yeah. Then that's a different story. Then you have to, again, make sure you have enough to cover them. You know, don't just hire it willy nilly and hope that they bring the value to you. But and that's where you just have to be smart about who you hire. But that's the kind of the only things I can think of. Now you can technically, if you really have a really good cash flow, and let's just say like, oh yeah, you're profiting hardcore, and you're gonna grow. Okay, then you can maybe just go ahead and bite the bullet because you know with your growth and the marketing money you're throwing into ads and things like that, you're probably gonna get some growth. Go ahead and hire somebody. I am not like that. I'm not in that position where I'm more so wanting to hold tight to all the money I can to continue to grow and put it more into marketing.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. Now, some companies, if they're healthy margins, then you might as well just go ahead and, if you're planning on growing and doing these different things with marketing, you might as well hire somebody.
Yeah. And, and I think, we mentioned it earlier, with AI and stuff like that, with technology, there's a lot of times that you can leverage certain technologies to where you don't have to hire someone, or you hire one person that understands those technologies, AI, stuff like that, that can double, triple, even 10x your potential. Mm-hmm. What I would caution people to do is own those things we're talking about, the marketing, the sales, if you're going to leverage AI and stuff like that, there's some people out there be like, oh, I'll just figure it out myself. I'm one of those people that think, oh, I'll just figure it out myself. But it might take me 3 or 4 months to figure it out. Or I could just hire the person that already knows it and immediately put it into effect right there. So,
yep.
I think every business has to kind of figure out where that fits into their plans. But, I think the key is don't be afraid to hire the people that you need.
Yes.
And make sure you can afford them. And sometimes it's better to hire them before you need them if you're projecting that this is where we're going.
Yep.
Because you don't want to get into whatever. Let's just say, and I'm going to make up a scenario. If you buy a piece of equipment that nobody knows how to use, and now you're going to try and, now I've got this equipment I'm making payments on, but nobody knows how to use it. Now I got to train someone to use it. And now I'm 3 months in making payments and they're still not making money. Or I'm getting ready to buy this piece of equipment. I find someone that already knows how to use it. I bring them on board. They're on board. We buy the equipment and now it's in production right away.
Yep.
So you really got to figure out how that works too when it comes to looking at people. Yeah, it's a balance. Definitely a balance. And speaking of balance, let's talk about client balance. And what I do now with home health care, referrals are all of my work is referrals.
Yeah.
So if I want to have 40 referrals a month, is it better for me to have 2 referral sources to provide 20 each? Or is it better to have 20 referral sources that provide 2 each? That is I could argue that point either way. I could say with the 2 people that provide 20, I only have 2 groups or 2 accounts that I have to focus on. So all of my attention goes to those 2.
Yeah.
But if something happens to one of them,
you're screwed.
My production just gets cut in half.
Yep.
On the other side, if I have 20 accounts I have to worry about, my entire time is spent going around and making sure every single account 5 days a week, 7 days a week are happy.
Yep.
So that they'll give me my return on that, all that time is only 2. But the flip side of that is if one or two of them don't give me a referral this month, my production only goes down by 10% as opposed to 50% or 5% as opposed to 50%.
Yeah.
So in the print industry, where do you fall on that scale?
So I think, cause like we have some very, very good clients, that do a lot with us that if we did lose them, it would hurt. So what we try to do is obviously those people we take extra care of, we need to make sure to do everything we can to keep them. Because like you said, if you lose those, that hurts. I think it's a balance for sure, because you want to get those big clients because that just it makes your job easier. If that, like you said, if 20 referrals come to you with one person, that's a no-brainer. But you can't get stuck on those and only rely on those, because once those leave, you're screwed. So you have to take care of those people that take care of you with that amount of money they're bringing in or referrals for your sake, and then grow around it. And I think there's a blend that you really need to focus on. I think you need to focus on the bigger companies, but also get the low-hanging fruit. Like it's a duel, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think you need to, even while I'm talking to the girls up front, while I'm trying to teach them sales and everything like that right now, while obviously they're trying to see out of the list I gave them, like who's a bigger client so they can try to get a bigger cash cow coming in and they get commissions off that. That's great, but those are a lot harder to sell. So, but you could call all these people right here that are low-hanging fruit that you can get $100 here, $200 there, whatever. And over the year, when you get 20 of those, it could add up to that one that you'll never get because they're hard to get.
Yeah.
And you're trying to focus on that one big company you can get, and then you're just never going to get them maybe. Whereas these are the easy ones. So it's a blend. What I told them is don't just focus on just the big clients. Call them in the middle of these low-hanging fruits, and hopefully you can get one of them. But also, you got to make sure you focus still on these ones that you can easily get and obtain and grow your sales funnel.
Yeah.
Because I look at it as the pyramid scheme or whatever, not scheme, not scheme, but like the pyramid. Okay. So like how you look at it, you want to have up here your bigger companies more at the top.
Yeah.
Because if that gets cut away, then it's not hurting your business too much. But if you have it inverted and flipped, where these are your big companies up here, but once they're gone, that big chunk is gone. And
now the whole thing crumbles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And, that reminds me of that show, The Pursuit of Happiness, where they, again, you can argue this either way, because he started at the bottom of the list because that's where all the big clients were.
Yeah.
And worked his way up, whereas most people started at the top and worked their way down. So, I like your strategy of, hey, don't focus all your effort on the big client. Don't ignore them, because it can still happen.
Yeah.
But make sure you're supplementing with these other ones. So in my scenario earlier, the good mix would probably be to have that one that provides 20, one that provides 10, and then 5 or 6 that provide 2 apiece. I still get my numbers. I'm not busting my butt, working 12 hours a day trying to, keep everybody happy.
Yep.
And I'm still reaching my goals. So
100%.
That's good. I like that. So the balance, I think, is important. I think it's also equally important, and you've already mentioned this a few times, is to get rid of those clients that aren't good clients.
Correct. Yeah.
That's another very important piece.
People that take up a lot of your
profit.
time.
Yep.
But don't necessarily bring you a lot of profit.
Yep. So
especially when it's taking up so much time to try to get any profit.
Yep.
So
I think that pretty much wraps it up. If you want to, got any closing messages for the profit side of things?
Yeah, I mean, just obviously, profit is the focus of this whole thing, and so if first of all, any business you're in, go through your P&L, break down every little expenditure that you're doing, even start to even every order you're doing. Are you making the profit margin you want? Are you even profiting on everything? And if you're not, cut those things out, get better deals, cut the fat of different softwares and little things that maybe are $50, $25 here that you don't even need. Cut those little things out, and that just will add to your bottom line every time. And always be thinking every move you make is this going to be able to be profitable, and that's just the big message.
Love it.
Yep. All right. Well, hopefully you gained anything from that, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Share this out to your people on your social media. Love that. And until next time, let's grow together.
It's time to step up, yeah. It's grind time, no more letting up. No, running faster, further, no more running up. Yeah, giving my all, no more giving up. Listen to me, step. It's time to step it up. Yeah, it's time to step it up. Step. It's time to step it up. Yeah, it's time to step it up. It's time to step up.